The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio. Coming up on the program today, we're going to discuss seed starting as well as nut trees. And we're going to garden like a Viking with our guest Nate Muri will be with us. And we'll answer your garden questions. The hour's full, so join us.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to another edition of the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy that you chose us to spend a little time together. I am your host, Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. Happy you're tuning in, whether you're doing that on one of the 18 AM and FM frequencies, broadcasting our program here in 2024, through our radio app, through our parent website, possibly, which is the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Underneath the Season 8 tab at the top of the page, podcast replay or in-studio video replay. However you're doing it, thank you so much. You want to be part of the program, participation is welcome. You can send us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or you can give us a call, toll-free, coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. If we can't get to you, leave a message or just give us a call to say hi, and we'll answer your question regardless, and we'll give you a call back if we can't get to you on the air. Well, Holly, before we get into the program of discussing seed starting, it's time for this week's Joke of the Week.
Why couldn't the green pepper practice archery?
Peppers don't have arms. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Because it didn't have an arrow.
Play on words. Have an arrow.
Yeah,
have an arrow.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This week's garden joke is brought to you by Rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family, home, and yard protected from pest insects like wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. Learn more at Rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com. So
we're going to discuss seed start. Now, yes, we are in the late portions of summer, early portions of fall, and you don't normally start, talk about seed starting. That's a January conversation. Well, that's true. But our program does not grace your airways until March. So I figured this was a good time in order to discuss some of the things in which we would recommend, advise from our experience what works best for seed starting, so you can take notes and revisit this program via podcast or however you're doing such, and be able to be more successful at seed starting next spring.
Right. So the first thing you want to do is you want to find a location that is away from children and pets or anything that might get to your seeds, and that it's going to take up some space for a couple of months. Like, for example, where the studio is in zone 5. Zone 6.
It changed this year.
That's right. We start some seeds as soon as January, like onions.
Onions and leeks, yeah.
So, and then we don't put them in the ground until like April-ish. Mm-hmm. So it does take up some space among other seeds that we start a little bit later. So this is something that you might want to keep in mind. It might be something that you're going to use the space for a while, and you don't necessarily want to have it be, a nuisance or a problem.
Something you're tripping over all the time. Now, we start, like you said, leeks and onions in January, about the middle of January where we're at. Because of the transition of the USDA moving our growing zone a little different, a little higher, we may hold off a couple of weeks. But we take and get our seeds from jungseed.com. That's JUNG seed.com. Coupon code 10TG24. And we take grow bags, 1-gallon grow bags from rootmaker.com. Coupon code. There's a lot of coupon codes. You can find all that under the money tab at our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. We take 1-gallon grow bags from rootmaker.com. Coupon code root24 to save 15% on your order. And we fill them with good potting mix, or you can use, we've done it in compost, but we use a good standard potting mix, and we plant our seeds in that, and we keep them under a grow light, and we do not plant them in cells or peat pellets or anything. The reason why the 1 gallon grow bags have been so essential to us is the onions and leeks have the opportunity to root all the way down that grow bag. The grow bag's only about 7 inches tall, 6.5, 7 inches tall. And then you let them grow. And at the time that you're going to transplant them out, they are just a lush a bundle of onion starts. Now, we take 250 seeds and plant in a 1 gallon grow bag. Yes, that's a lot. And we don't use all of them, no, but we have the success in which many of them do very well. And it's just this blanket, this hundreds of onion starts in this 1 gallon grow bag that's 6.5 inches tall by about 6.5 inches wide, in good fertile compost or potting mix. And the benefit to that is you can put it in a 10 by 12 flat and bottom water, and that wicking action will take place through the grow bag up into the onions and leeks, and you don't have to top water, and they get as much water as they need. You can find you can find all these videos at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. You can search in the upper right corner, starting onions, starting leeks, chickpeas, whatever. We've got 2,000 videos there.
Right. So you want to think about light.
You don't have to have a grow light. It does make a difference.
It does make a difference, but we started seeds. We have a west-facing window. We started seeds for many years without a grow light, utilizing that west-facing window. We would at times rotate the plants, or the seedlings, whatever you want to call them, the starts, and that would help them have an even grow, They would
pull towards the light every day.
But you can use just a window. We like using a grow light. We use a Happy Leaf LED grow light, and I would just highly recommend considering getting a grow light because it does help you have consistency.
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
Not required, but it does help.
So we kind of talked about like the size of the container with the onions.
Yeah, but with the label, we got to label these things.
Yeah, you want to label them. So just because you're growing sweet peppers and hot peppers and you're like, I'm going to remember this for sure.
Leeks and onions look the same.
Yeah, a lot of stuff looks
cauliflower,
the same.
broccoli, kale all looks the same. All your tomatoes look the same. Now, what we found with the tomatoes, we've done it a very simplistic way. We take a marker, you can some type of item, whether it's wood or a plastic window blind, and you cut the size. B for beefsteak and C for cherry, and we just go with it. We don't say this is an early girl, this is a black creme, or this is a mortgage lifter, or this is a plum.
Now, if you're only growing a couple different varieties, then I would say that, you do want to label. That's just our system. But for example, I grew what's called a goth garden this year, and I only marked certain plants. I didn't mark all the plants, and then I kind of forgot what some were. So
what?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll kind of remember this. And I think I might have taken a picture, but I don't know. And I think I accidentally deleted it. So, of the seedlings, like what I planted. So it's not a huge deal for necessarily for flowers unless you are,
designing a certain
way. I just was trying this for the first year, and now I have some experience and know kind of what I want to do next year. And, yeah, but I did get sunflowers like very, very early because I started them inside, which was kind of cool.
So you keep your plants watered. If they dry out, it damages the cell wall and makes the plant more susceptible to issues. So if you are in a seed tray, a 10 by 20 flat, and you're using a root maker grow cell, an 18, 32, 64, 72, 128, whatever it is, or you're getting the ones from your garden center, you don't want to top water your plants because it will blow the seeds out. Top watering is you're just sprinkling the water after you've planted your seed, and it can disrupt the depth in which your seed is at. You can bottom water, set them in that tray, and capillary action will wick the water up into the individual cells and hydrate them that way. It also is benefit to start with hydrated potting mix or seed starting mix. But at some point, you may have to top water. So you take a paper towel and you lay across your seed trays. This is in the instance that you have nothing that has germinated yet. and then you can water through the paper towel. The water will drip through the towel onto the top of the seed cells and not disrupt or blow out the seeds in which you've just planted if you are dealing with seed starting mix that is not as hydrated or moist as you may want it to be. And you can leave those paper towels on top of your seed trays until the seeds begin to germinate. It acts just as a mulch, and you can continue to water through. After the first watering, the paper towel will become a crusty. It will crust over a little bit and hold a lot of moisture in. So keep that in mind as well. And let's touch on no heat pad.
Yeah, so a lot of people think that you need a heat pad for starting pepper seeds specifically, but that's kind of a myth, especially if you aren't growing like in a basement or a non-climate controlled area, or if you're growing in a climate controlled area. Like, for example, ours is in the main portion of our house. We're not in a basement or like an attic, so it's about 68, 70 degrees in the winter time and then spring. So that's fine. That's fine for your seeds. Heat pads are not necessary for that. If you are growing in a basement or an attic or a greenhouse outside, then you might find that necessary.
Use the heat mat until the seeds germinate, and then take the heat mat off of it. We're wanting a horticulture grade heat mat. We don't want to use a heat mat that you use for your legs or your aching muscles, because number one, those aren't very good, and number two, if you buy the new ones, they've got safety features that they shut off after a certain period of time. So, and if you get them wet, you could have issues. And a horticultural grade heat mat is designed to regulate the temperature to a certain area that has a thermostat on it, in which you can control the heat in which you put into your seedlings. Well, that's a good down and dirty way of talking about seed starting. Again, you can go to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com in the upper right corner, underneath, next to the magnifying glass, and type in seed starting, and it will take you in journeys and places on the website that you will have endless fun and knowledge to learn. Walton's Inc. also has a plethora of products in which you can use not only for spicing and seasoning your food, but for butchering out what may be a successful hunt this year if you're one of those individuals.
We are brought to you today by our sponsor, Walton's Inc. We know you care about where your food comes from. Now you want to think about, the meat parts, especially as we move into a lot of more meat harvesting season. And Walton's has everything you need to make the equipment for seasoning and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. You want to make snack sticks that people will actually like? You can go to meatjuststicks.com, and they have an informational site of over 15,000 users to help you get the best finished product. They use Excalibur seasoning, which is professional grade seasonings that you can purchase, and they have everything from meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers to help you go from animal to edible. That's waltonsinc.com. The code is GROW50 to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more.
When we return, Nut Trees, we'll discuss the goods and the bads and all the things you need to know. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Are you bugged by bugs? You need naturally green products, No More Bugs, environmentally friendly. Made in the USA, No More Bugs is a cedar blend that repels and eliminates mosquitoes, no-see-ums, ticks, fleas, roaches, ants, and more. No More Bugs is safe for you, your pets, and plants. Available online at nomorebugs.net, Amazon, Walmart.com, and the Home Shopping Network. Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated seed company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use coupon code 10TG24 to save 10% off your order at jungseed.com. The coupon code is 10TG24 at jungseed.com for 10% off.
Your mosquito frustrations are over. Now with Mega Catch, suitable for residential and commercial use. Mega Catch mosquito traps produce a vast array of mosquito-attracted stimuli, including safe CO2, and can attract mosquitoes and other biting insects up to 150 feet away. Easy to use and set up. The Mega Catch is ready to make your outdoor space comfortable and enjoyable at megacatch.com. Use coupon code JOEYB, my name, Joey B, at checkout and receive 20% discount on your entire trap order at megacatch.com.
Garden like a pro in 3 easy steps and receive customized fertilizer recommendations for your garden or lawn. Soil Savvy helps you determine what nutrients your plants need to thrive. Never again over-apply nutrients they don't need. A patented process that makes you a smart gardener. To get your soil test kit, go to mysoilsavvy.com.
Soil Diva Liquid Microbe Stimulant Spray improves the health of your plants you work hard to grow, stimulates the natural enzymes, and increases beneficial soil bacteria. Go to soildiva.net. Soildiva.net. Water supply tanks provide BPA-free, long-term, safe storage for drinking water from 35 to 1,500-gallon tanks. Water supply tanks has you covered. From preparing for unexpected needs, off-grid property, easy gardening access, and more. For questions and to order, visit watersupplytanks.com and use coupon code GARDENING10 to save 10% off your order. Welcome back to the Garden with Joe and Holly radio show. Happy you're with us today. We're going to discuss nut trees, but first a word from our bee friends at Honey Bee Healthy.
Since 2000, Honey Bee Healthy Inc. has helped beekeepers maintain healthy and thriving hives. Attracting pollinators to your garden this year is as simple as hanging a hummingbird feeder with a mixture of sugar water and Honey Bee Healthy Original. Don't be alarmed to see birds, bees, and butterflies dining together at the feeder. Pollinators coexist peacefully. Honey Bee Healthy is offering a 10% discount on an 8-ounce bottle of Honey Bee Healthy Original to this show's listeners. Enter code BGARDEN at checkout for more information. Mixing instructions and to purchase products, go to honeybeehealthy.com.
So nut trees, Holly. Now, if you want to add a level of additional sustainability to your property, fruit trees and nut trees are those items. Now, these are not necessarily a quick to produce item. These are a longevity. Once you get established and maintain, they will grow and produce for many, many years.
Right. So the first one we can, or also, before we go into this,
yes.
I know many people may have never grown a tree before or have thought about growing a tree. And I think that one thing to mention is that, you know, as you mentioned, that they will grow for many, many years, but to consider the spot you're growing in.
Uh-huh.
So you have to think about the canopy of the tree, how much space it's going to take up. Any care that it might require. And then also, as we go on to talk about walnut trees are great, but black walnuts produce this chemical called, I think it's Julon. And that can be a drawback because
it's a soil toxicity.
Yeah, it's toxic to soil, and it can prevent you from growing certain things directly in your soil when it's within the base-ish of the tree.
It will also, keep this in mind, it will also start killing off adjacent trees. If you've got a black walnut tree in proximity to an oak or an ash or whatever the tree is, you will begin to see that other tree take significant downturns because of the poison in which that walnut tree is producing in the soil in order to protect itself so it doesn't get choked out.
So you want to do some research. You want to know things like how long is it going to take before it produces?
Well, let's go with black walnut.
Yeah.
8 to 10 years is the rough estimate on most trees before they start producing. Now, that's where that old saying came from. When's the best time to plant a tree? 10 years ago or today?
Right. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, just again, how big it gets, etc. So maybe one of those things that if you look for dwarf variety, it might grow sooner, quicker, produce faster, might work for your area as well. So there's a lot of different types of trees that are now becoming more accessible or available to people. So to keep that in mind.
And also, now this may seem, common knowledge, but before you decide to go buy a walnut tree or a hickory tree or a hazelnut tree or a chestnut tree, be sure you like it. Because we see this in the gardening vegetable world. Oh, I'm trying to grow okra and having a heck of a time doing such. Well, do you like okra? Well, not really. Well, why are you growing it? Know that you're going to like these particular nuts trees before you plant, and wait 10 years before to get a harvest. And understand, do your research, like you said, understand how they distribute their produce and what kind of mess they may leave, how much may come down at one time. We had a pear tree that it would produce wonderful pears, but the first big wind, you had like 300 pounds of pears on the ground, and most of them rotted because you couldn't do anything with that many poundage of pears.
Right. So hazelnut, this is a popular one in more northern growing zones because it does so well, and it's more of like a shrub than a tree. So you want to keep that in mind as well. They're something to grow. And then there is a hickory pecan cross called a hecan, and a lot of people like those because those are easier to shell and taste better than hickory nuts. They're more of like the classic pecan flavor.
Hazelnut, early as 2 to 3 years. It can grow and produce between 10 and 15 years. Their peak is 10 to 15 years. And most of these trees can grow in areas of growing zones between 4 and 8, as many of our listeners are located. But again, you want to do your research. If you're in the northern portions of North Dakota, you may want to change what you wanted to grow versus if you were in Kansas City, Missouri.
Another one is cool climate pecans or pecans, cool climate pecans. Uh-huh. And they can be grown in zones 5 to 9, and then do better in the south, obviously. They are bred to withstand the colder conditions, so that is an option if you do want to grow pecans, which seem to be a popular nut.
You can do a lot of this. You also want to find out with these trees, do you need 2 trees to pollinate? Are these self-pollinating trees, or do you need a pair of trees to pollinate? Just like you do with some pear trees, some apple trees, some cherry trees. Some are self-pollinating. Others, you have to have a pair or several of them in order to make all of the production to produce.
Yes. So there is a Russian almond. I didn't know this. I knew like certain pecans and hazelnuts and chestnuts and blah, blah, blah. Russian almonds are not sweet. So if you're like, oh, I can grow this almond tree. No. I mean, you can, but they tend to be bitter. There's possibility that there could be, they could be sweet depending on where you are, if there's a certain variety of cultivar, but for the most part, Russian almonds are not sweet, they're bitter. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Just because it sounds familiar to you doesn't mean that it's what you're expecting.
And just because you think you remember eating it as a child doesn't mean that it may have been what you ate as a child. You need some verification, because if you are a parent or an aunt, or you sometimes tell the kids that, yeah, that's what this is, when it's really not that.
Okay.
Yeah, that is such and such, and you're just trying to get the kid to eat it. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So yeah, there's also something called the there's chestnuts. Obviously, most people are familiar with chestnuts. There's a chinquapin. It is a member of the chestnut family, but it's more of a shrub. So you do have options for shrubs and shorter trees to grow. So that's another idea as well, if you want something that's a little bit less tree-like.
Well, true. And these trees, you can control how tall they get. There are 2 rules of thought when it comes to fruit trees and nut trees. Plant them and walk away, and what nature does, nature does. Or plant them and nurture them and baby them and trim them and love them and take care of them and shape them. There's not right or wrong there. One's more labor intensive, yes. The advantage to the loving and taking care of, you do not have a 30-foot tree where you are difficult in order to harvest the produce in which the tree is producing. So that, you take the good with the bad there.
So we also have the American bladder nut, which sounds kind of funny. This is another shrub, and you would want to do some looking to see what it tastes like. They do have slightly larger yields and larger size nuts, so that way, maybe you can get a better harvest once the tree does start to produce. Just like anything, things can vary. Like, for example, we planted a cherry shrub thing. What was dwarf cherry tree?
Yeah, dwarf cherry. Yeah. Cherry bush.
And we just never really got any cherries.
No.
So, not trying to scare you from planting these items, but it is the truth. There is a chance that you might plant something and it's not going to do anything.
And if you do not have a nut tree currently, acorns. People take and harvest acorns and make a variety of different things. Acorn pancakes is one of them. So you don't have to currently have a nut tree. Now you can see if you are in an area in which there are pick your own farms that do have these such a plants that you can go and get a bucket full or a pail full of a specific variety of nuts for cooking or just for eating.
That's a good option as well to see. Also, I think that because we have so much information online, you could see how people are harvesting these and how they're cracking them open. Right? Is this super hard to?
Do I need a hammer or what is it called? A hydraulic axe?
Yeah. And I just remember, I don't know if it was walnuts or chestnuts or something, but when I was growing up, somebody down the street from me had this tree, and the nuts would fall down and we would open them up, but they would stay in our hands. It might have been, I guess that would have been, what's it called?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Walnut. Is it the walnut?
Black walnut is one of the most popular ones.
I don't know. It was just there. I just remember that you would stay in your hands, and I don't know if we even got to the nut part because there was this hard.
It looked like the black walnut looks like a green apple.
Yeah.
And the green apple kind of breaks away and turns into like a charcoal, and the nut is inside of the center of that.
That's what we had. So it was a black walnut.
Yeah.
There you go. I think the tree ended up dying. I don't know. Anyway.
With that being said, summer is fully in swing, and the Japanese beetles are attacking your yard and garden, but there is a solution to that situation.
If you're looking to successfully control beetles without damaging the environment, look no further than Beetle Gone from Phylum Bioproducts. Derived from a naturally occurring soil bacteria, Beetle Gone is the only organic solution that successfully controls beetle invaders. Just mix the powder with water and spray it on your plants. Once ingested, the targeted pest will stop feeding and die. And since it's an organic BT product, it's a great choice to use on your fruits and veggies in addition to your ornamental flowers and trees.
Not only does Beetle Gone work, the best part about it is environmentally safe, meaning it does not affect beneficial insects such as ladybugs, butterflies, and bees, and has no water toxicity when it comes to using it. You can go to beetlegone.com to find out all the products that you need that they have available. That's beetlegone.com. Hang out with us, Nate
Muri.
Say it.
Nate Muri.
Nate Muri will be with us to Garden Like a Viking. You're tuned in to the Garden with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Garden like a pro in 3 easy steps and receive customized fertilizer recommendations for your garden or lawn. Soil Savvy helps you determine what nutrients your plants need to thrive. Never again over-apply nutrients they don't need. A patented process that makes you a smart gardener. To get your soil test kit, go to mysoilsavvy.com.
Wisconsin Greenhouse Company has custom-made greenhouses to suit your needs. Grow year-round. Strongest greenhouses that will last a lifetime. From agricultural to lounging to entertaining. For more information, go to wisconsingreenhousecompany.com.
Happy 65th anniversary to David J. Frank, Southeastern Wisconsin's leading landscape company. Their award-winning services include everything from lawn care, landscape maintenance, design, construction, renovation, irrigation, sustainability, and more. Big or small, let the experts at David J. Frank handle the hard work for you. Find out more at davidjfrank.com. Deer Defeat is an all-natural based animal repellent to keep deer and rabbits away from your valuable plants that is odorless after 30 minutes and dries clear. It creates a continuous, invisible shield to protect your plants. Works for 30 days through rain, snow, and freeze. Will not clog your sprayer. Apply to your property without environmental damage. You can spray directly onto your plants up to flowering, then apply around your plants to continue protection. No need to reapply. Money back guarantee. To purchase, go to deerdefeat.com and use coupon code RADIO to save 10% off your order. Make hand watering easy and enjoyable with HoseLink retractable hose reels. No more tripping over hoses, kinks, tangles, and avoiding rolling the hose up. With an automatic retractable hose link, saves you time and effort manually coiling up your hose, leaving your focus on the things that will bring you joy in your garden. Available in multiple colors and lengths, you'll be sure to find the retractable hose that works for you. To find out more and to buy online via hoselink.com, use coupon code RADIO10 for $10 discount. Mantis tillers, the premium long-lasting gas-powered tillers, are the perfect solution for any garden. This Mantis machine is available with 2 or 4 cycle engines with a 19-inch or 16-inch tilling width. Your DIY companion in your garden and your lawn converts easily for edging, aerating, and more with optional attachments. Find details at mantis.com.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy that you've chose us to be part of your day. Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Nate Muri is the founder of Garden Like a Viking YouTube channel. He encourages and teaches people to grow into growing naturally. He's also a big believer in building your soil for the best garden growth. Welcome to the program, Nate.
Hello, my friends.
Well, we thank you for taking time out of your day, not only to educate Holly and myself, but all of our listeners. And I'll start with this, Nate. Many people are always concerned about the cost of gardening. What are some of your soil budget-friendly tips?
Well, some of the things that people don't fully realize is that the best fertilizers can be made at home by yourself. And so everyone's aware of compost, yes, but one of the best fertilizers and one of the things that I promote heavily on my YouTube channel is aerated compost tea. So it's very cheap. We're using compost and we're brewing it in such a way that multiplies it in a liquid form. And then we apply that to the plants in the garden. Very cheap, very economical, and it's building soil health. The other thing that I highly recommend is to learn how to make just a couple of the fertilizers. And I have all of these on my YouTube channel. And the most important ones are fish-based. So these are all things that you can make yourself. It doesn't cost a lot of money.
When you make that compost, do you foliar feed it? Do you put it in the soil? Is there too much if people are concerned? Did I over-fertilize, or is there a concern there?
Well, the wonderful thing about aerated compost tea is that it is very forgiving. And so we are brewing really the microbiology. The best thing is to focus not so much on the nutrients as it is the microbiology, because unbeknownst to most people, all of the nutrients that they really need is already present in the soil. It's just locked up and it needs to be unlocked by the microbiology. So the key is really to get those microbes in there. So when you brew a proper aerated compost tea, no, you can't really over apply it. You can't hurt anything so long as you brew it right. And it's a pretty simple process, but there are some guidelines. Of course, I've made videos about this on my YouTube channel.
Fantastic. So mulch is vital. What do you use for mulch, and what do you recommend other people use for mulch, maybe if they don't use the same thing as you?
Yes, mulch. Yeah, that's a great question because mulch is absolutely vital. So it really depends upon your specific parameters. When I do consultations with people, they have very different setups. And so if you are having to, if you've got a small garden that is easy to manage, then organic mulches are the way to go. My favorite of all is deciduous leaves. So because they nourish the soil, they're the favorite food of earthworms, and they help to keep the soil moist and to feed the microbiology. And so also the deciduous leaves will block out a lot of the weeds from popping up. And so that's another plus. Down the line, though, would be like straw. Straw is also a very good one, but it costs a bit more. The deciduous leaves are free. That's one reason I love them.
Right.
But if you have a large space to do, it's hard to get that much organic matter. And so We like to use rolls of landscaping fabric as also perfectly acceptable. And you can cover a much larger area, easier with the landscaping fabric.
Now, does people whom choose that landscaping fabric avenue, there's a certain porous level that you have to be aware of, or does anything that you see cheap on sale work?
Well, it depends. If after you've worked with it for a while, you do understand the differences between the quality stuff that costs a bit more and then just the real cheap stuff. So the number one rule with the landscaping fabric is we never put anything on top of it. So we don't put down landscaping fabric and then other kinds of mulch, because things can grow down through it. They just can't grow up through it. So we don't want to be putting stuff on top of the fabric. So we would get us a roll of the Sunbelt or the DeWitt. Those are some brands. And then we would lay it out, and then we burn holes in that, in the landscaping fabric. And we actually plant into the earth underneath that. And that really eliminates things from coming up.
And you bring up a point that if you mulch on top, things are going to go through. And we see that on like TV shows and YouTube channels where somebody has mulch or somebody has put wheat fabric down and then put wood mulch on top of it or gravel, and they're trying to pull that stuff, and the weed roots have gone through and actually locked itself into the ground beneath the mulch.
Yes, exactly. And that's why a lot of people are like, oh, no, never use landscaping fabric, because they've got sort of bad memories or they've had bad experience with that, pulling that stuff up. But it should never be that way. You leave it on top of everything.
Definitely. So you have this great YouTube channel. Tell us the name of your YouTube channel and tell us what people can expect to learn on it.
Well, my YouTube channel is called Garden Like Viking. And I am also on Instagram, also on Facebook. And so you can look me up there. And what you can learn on the channel is really, I think at the moment there's 41 different videos I've made over the past years just on how to brew specific homemade fertilizers. So there's homemade fertilizers, there's how to heal the land, there's how to prepare the soil with cover cropping, how to use the green manure method. So many different methods of nourishing the land so that you can tailor it to what you have available. That's really the key, is making it so that, okay, you're in a certain location, your parameters are different than mine. Here is the skills you will need for that. So, how to brew your own fertilizers, how to prep the land, how to grow the crops, and also, most importantly, how to preserve the harvest and how to eat the harvest. I mean, from seed to table.
Now, in the process of making videos for Holly and myself, as well as many people we talked to, we learn so much in our own video production, like, oh, I didn't know that was going to work, that we get to share with people. What is some of the big aha moments that you have discovered in your brewing series that you thought, well, that's new. That's clearly something I need to share with everybody?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I would say, things that have to do with simplicity, distilling things. So, there's a lot of overcomplication in the process as far as fertilizers and the NPK ratios and all of these kind of things. So I have found through explaining it to people and through working with people through online consultations and whatnot, that the key is to make it as simple as possible. And that's what makes people willing to stick to it. That's what makes them integrate it into their life so that it doesn't become something that's overwhelming. And so really trying to see the simplicity hidden amongst the complex is really what making the videos and working with people has shown to me.
Making it simple, and we are our own worst enemy. Well, I don't want to do that because it looks hard. Well, nobody else is going to do it, and you got one shot in life. You might as well try it.
That's exactly right. You got to get growing something. You got to get growing.
So we saw, or let's see, tell us, we saw that you made a shelf-stable tomato paste. What is that, and how did it work out for you that you can share with all of us?
Well, the shelf-stable tomato paste is one of those, is the sort of a product of one of those aha moments when I'm trying to simplify things. So making tomato paste for me for many years was a real laborious kind of thing. You had to blanch it, you had to core the tomatoes, then you had to blanch them and take the skins off and then the seeds out and all of this kind of stuff. And so that was a very involved process with many steps, and I just kind of stopped doing it because of that reason. But then I was shown and then discovered this way of the shelf-stable tomato paste, which is so simple that I couldn't believe I didn't see it before. All you have to do is take the whole tomato and dehydrate it until it's bone dry, and then grind it up into a powder. And that's pretty much it. And it says shelf-stable in a jar, and as you need it for cooking, you can just take spoonfuls of it and add it. Like, for example, the other night I was sauteing chicken, and I wanted that tang, that kind of zesty tang from a tomato paste. But I wasn't going to go into the basement and bust open a whole jar, a whole can of tomato paste, and then just use a little bit and waste the rest. So instead, I just, of course, have the shelf-stable tomato paste that I just sprinkle a little bit in there. And it's very concentrated in flavor. And I'll never go back to making the other kind.
Right. And then the moisture in the dish in which you're preparing absorbs into the tomato and turns it into that paste that we're familiar with.
Yes, exactly. And so recipes that call for some tomato paste to really enhance the concentration of flavor, it's ideal for that. You just add some of that. Or if you need just actual tomato paste, just rehydrate it with a few drops of water like that. But I have a full video about it on my YouTube channel.
And you and I both know that homegrown stuff is much more flavorful than anything you ever find in a jar or a can on the store.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, because the flavor of something is a direct representation of the mineral content, of the vitamin and mineral content. And so things that are grown on a mass production scale in greenhouses, in soils that are depleted or hydroponically, they're lacking the minerals. And so when we grow them ourselves at home, we're getting that rich source of nutrients. And that's where the flavor comes from.
Fantastic. So in regards to, the gardening and building the soil and all of that, is this something you've always done, or what inspired you to do that and to start your YouTube channel?
Well, really, it was so for about a 10-year span, I traveled the world. I was traveling through mostly in Asia. I spent a lot of time in Sri Lanka, in India, and then Nepal. Then I lived in Thailand and through Vietnam. I also lived in Greece for some time. And so over these years, I was observing these sort of ancient ways, these ways that people are growing food that they have been doing for thousands of years. And it was nothing like how I was used to back home. And so all the things that I was taught in these travels, all the different things people had showed me, the villagers and stuff, when I came back, I was like, I've got all these experiences, so I need to get this out to people. People got to learn this. The Western audience has to learn these ancient practices. And so I started the YouTube channel, and pretty much immediately it kind of exploded.
Yeah, the fascination of, let's just take the Native Americans here in America. We've pushed them off their land and say, you're not important, when really we should have said, hey, teach us what you know, because you clearly know stuff that we white people do not understand, and we've lost that.
Right. Yes. I mean, these cultures, these more ancient cultures, have been living in relative symbiosis with the environment for a long, long time. I mean, India, for example, is been around for thousands of years. I mean, buildings that are 1,000 or 2,000 years old, things we just don't have anything like that in America, how old the society is there. And so there's so many things we can learn. And so that was really what inspired me to begin sharing these techniques.
Absolutely. Well, Nate, we greatly appreciate the time you've offered us. You've shared with us your YouTube channel. Re-share with us and our listeners again, so we know where to go on the World Wide Web to find you.
Yes, you can search YouTube or Instagram. It's Garden Like a Viking.
Well, Nate, we greatly appreciate the time, and the information you shared with us has been very knowledgeable, and we greatly appreciate that the time you've given us.
All right, not a problem. Thanks for the chat.
Absolutely. And when we come back, it's going to be your garden questions and our garden answers. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now 1-800-927-SHOW.
Take the guesswork out of composting with the AeroBin 400 or smaller 200 for easy composting. The AeroBin mimics how nature decomposes waste. The AeroBin is easy to use. You prepare your balanced organic waste, just open it up, drop it in, and close. After a short time, fertile compost is produced, which is easily accessed via the lower side door. The thermal insulation in the AeroBin conserves heat, leading to rapid breakdown of the biomass and works efficiently year-round, even in cooler regions. There is no need to turn the biomass, and it is patent rodent resistant. It has little odor and can kill annoying weeds and seeds. It is BPA free. The AeroBin 400 or 200 comes with a reservoir at the bottom to collect the leachate. When diluted, makes for great compost tea liquid fertilizer. AeroBin composts kitchen and garden waste quickly. Easy to assemble with no special tools needed. The AeroBin makes composting rewarding and easy. Go to burpee.com or homedepot.com to purchase. Protect your plants from damage with the 3-in-1 Plant Guard and Special Blend Fertilizer. Visit ivorganics.com. Use promo code RADIO10 to save 10% off your order. Are you ready to take control of your home's comfort? With Mr. Cool DIY Direct, empower yourself with our top-notch do-it-yourself cooling and heating solution. Introducing the Mr. Cool 4th Generation Mini Split, the DIY-friendly way to keep your home perfectly comfortable all year round. Our systems come with everything you need for installation, including our patented pre-charge line sets, eliminating the need for expensive professional help. Visit MrCoolDIYDirect.com to learn more and to take the first step towards a cooler, more comfortable home. Don't forget, use promo code GARDEN for a special discount and free nationwide shipping. Mr. Cool DIY Direct. Cool your house, heat your space, all by yourself. Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
Rootmaker starts your plants off right and keeps them going through harvest. From their seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots to their large variety of grow bags, 1 to 60 gallons. Their products will provide you the harvest you've never seen before. Visit rootmaker.com. Use coupon code ROOT24 to save 15% off your order at rootmaker.com. That coupon code is ROOT24 to save 15% off your order at rootmaker.com. If you could double the life of your raised bed boxes by sealing the wood with a clear, non-toxic wood preservative, would you? Well, now you can with a clear, penetrating product called Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's 100% non-toxic and easy to apply. Seal your untreated wood surfaces, even chicken coops, by spraying on Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's invisible, seals the wood from the inside out, and never wears off. Recommended by organic gardening experts, Internal Wood Stabilizer. Check it out at timberprocoatingsusa.com.
Wind River Chimes will always be the inspiring harmony. With a large selection and customization options, you will find the sound that soothes you. Visit windriverchimes.com to shop and find out more.
Welcome back to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along. Time for your garden questions and our garden answers. If you've got a question, send it on over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or you can send us give us a call at toll free, coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. And we will get you the answer to the question that you have. So let's go through and see what we can get through here. First question is, I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The leaves on my lilacs are turning black and curling up. I thought lilacs were imperviable to almost any problem. Now they look like they might die. Any ideas? That's John listening to us on WAAM Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM.
All right, so lilac blight is an airborne disease, and that's what this sounds like. It sounds like it's likely lilac blight. It can occur at any time. So it can spread through areas, etc. And unfortunately, it could kill off a lilac plants. But the good news is that you can prune it, like as soon as you see it, you can prune it. So you would prune it, and then you would throw those lilac
into Lake Michigan.
Branches or whatever you want to call Ann Arbor isn't near Lake Michigan.
I know.
You can throw the lilac branches or whatever you want to call
That's
them. That's
Holly's answer for a lot of things. Just throw it right in the Lake Michigan.
Oh yeah, I say heave it in Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
That's what you. That's why you said that. I do say that.
Put the diseased limbs and leaves in the trash.
Yes, you don't want to put them in your compost. You don't want to burn them. You don't want to put them in your street or city or whatever compost. You want to put them directly in the trash because you don't want a chance that blight spreading, and it could be a problem. And once you do that, you just, you're not being a kind citizen, essentially. So make sure you do get that in the trash and get rid of it. And then hopefully, it'll do better. You can possibly spray some copper fungicide on that. A lot of these university extension websites say that. It's not always proven for blight. You could try. If you really like your lilac bush, give it a go.
All right. You cover fall garden cleanup. I know many people in the northern U.S. kind of stop after Labor Day. Many of my plants are still growing strong. When should I stop gardening, or is there a better time frame than Labor Day to clean the garden out?
I feel like this is...
Well, not everybody stops at Labor Day.
No, not every... And I feel like this is I don't want to say it's like old-timer advice, but I feel like this is when we had more consistent seasons, and our seasons didn't blend together and overlap so much, whereas now it seems like, our fall, our summer really bleeds into fall. And now we have, successful growth of a lot of things.
Well, there's a certain caliber of gardener that goes, well, the garden's shot. It's full of weeds. I'm done. We'll just take the lawnmower, mow it over, and we'll fix it in the spring.
Right. But if your plants are still producing, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Because somebody told me.
Somebody told me.
Yeah.
And that's fair. And that makes sense. And that's probably how you were raised, or your neighbor told you, or whatever, or your coworker, who knows. But if you're especially if your tomato plants are still blossoming and blooming and putting on tomatoes, don't stop.
We've had tomato plants up to the day of frost still have producing tomatoes.
Yeah. So what you can do is you can kind of... What you can do is you can kind of assess the situation. Your tomatoes at some point will stop producing as much, especially if they are, what is that?
Determinate.
Indeterminate. So
indeterminate will produce all season long. Yeah. Determinate, one big crop, and still produce slightly some throughout the rest of the growing season.
So if you get to the point where you're like, you know what, I've just had enough tomatoes, what you can do is you can yank them out.
No, don't yank them out. Get a hold of your city hall and find out if they have a food pantry that will take tomatoes. Because we are in a situation now, whether you want to admit it or not, even though if you're listening in the United States, it's supposed to be the greatest country in the world, and it is, there's still 25% of people don't know where their next meal is going to come from. And these food pantries are very difficult to come up with the produce that they need in order to fill the baskets each week for the people who really do need it. So figure out where you can distribute your excessive or over amount of produce in your garden to benefit somebody else.
Yes. So you want to, you can definitely give the food away. And we're not just talking about tomatoes, any produce and there are programs that will take the fresh produce.
But call before you go to see if they will accept it, because there are certain food pantries that do not accept fresh produce.
You could probably Google, food pantry, fresh produce, and put your zip code in or whatever. There are different programs. So that's a good thing to keep in mind too. So you can kind of feel it out. I would not use Labor Day as a hard and fast rule. I would
take Labor Day off and then start again.
I would probably use something like October 15th, because I think that's our first frost date, to give myself a time frame. But I would not do that.
Okay, when is a good time to harvest watermelon? Is there a secret tip to this?
Yeah, so what you can tell when the spot where the fruit touches the ground becomes more prominent and changes color, so it'll look kind of yellow. I'm sure you've seen watermelons
even
at the
white.
Store. Yeah, or white. You can see watermelons at the store will have that yellowish, almost like white scabby spot. So when you turn your watermelon over and you see that that's a good sign. The other sign is that the tendrils around the stem will often turn brown
and curl
and dry up. The stem will also usually kind of start to look a little bit meh.
If you've gone too long, the watermelon will actually tell you it will crack open.
Yes. So you don't want to do that. You do want to pay attention. If you think it's close to being harvested, check it every day.
And here's the other thing. If you've harvested it too early, this is not like a tomato where you can just take it on the counter and set it there for a couple of days and it'll ripen. It's going to ripen outside before you harvest it. It's not going to ripen after you harvest it. It doesn't work that way.
No, so I wouldn't be like, I'm going to be on the safe side and pull it early. I would wait until you see those signs. The bottom, or whatever you want to call it, is turning that yellowish white.
The portion that contacts the ground.
Yeah, is turning yellowish white, and then also the tendrils around the stem turning brown, curling, and falling off.
Okay, there are many. I have a lot of dragonflies around here in late summer. Do you know why? Well, there's several different reasons why you might have a lot of dragonflies humming around and buzzing around your particular area. Some dragonflies migrate south for the fall, similar to birds. Where the show originates in Wisconsin, you might see dragonflies gathering in masses in late summer as they prepare to migrate. Green or darker color often seems larger swarms as they migrate south for the winter. A population explosion, dragonfly population might occur, and that'll give you more of a swarm. A seasonal prey movement. We're in an area now in certain parts of the country where you're getting rain, like literally tropical rain every afternoon at 3 o'clock. It's like we all live in Florida at certain times. So there's a lot of moisture, which means there's a lot of mosquitoes, and the dragonfly feeds off mosquitoes. So if you have a lot of dragonflies, you probably have there's a possibility you have a lot of mosquitoes, and those dragonflies will eat the mosquitoes. So that's another reason. Newly
emerged adults. So they lay their eggs in large group, and then when the newly emerged adults come out, they do seem to kind of come in waves. But I think it's just kind of a seasonal things, and they are beneficial to ecosystems. They eat mosquitoes, insects.
That's one of the primary
nips.
Nips. That's one of the primary things. So if you see a lot of mosquitoes wherever you're at, enjoy them. They're very pretty to look at. Do not swat at them. They're not harming anything. They're not going to harm you. So they are a benefit to your garden, your house, your everything. So
your area, your ecosystem, all the good things.
Yes. I want to grow okra next year. Can you give me any advice on doing such? I'm in southeast Wisconsin. Well, you can grow okra in the north. We have done it. It's not as prominent as it would be if you were in Louisiana or South Tennessee or anything like that, but it can be done. Now, there are burgundy varieties, there are green varieties, there are 135 varieties of okra in the world. Not all of them are commercially available. They are also known as ladyfingers. And what you want to find out, first make sure, I know you want to grow it, and we've kind of joked about that on the program every now and then. Oh, you want to grow okra. Do you like okra? Not really. Then why are you growing it?
Because I don't like okra.
I know you don't like okra. So be sure you like okra. Now, find it at a farmer's market. That's going to be your best avenue of freshness than at the store. So figure out what varieties are available, and then you really don't want to start them in a starting tray. They have a very thick and long taproot, and that can get damaged in transplanting. So you would have to figure out where you're located in southeast Wisconsin, or whomever else is listening that wants to grow it. Start it early in the spring, but it is like a tomato. It doesn't like frost. Full sun, a lot of water. It loves the heat, so put it in the hottest portion of the garden and keep the water to it, and harvest the okra in decent sized pieces. You don't want to go too large because it will get woody. It is a relative of the hibiscus plant. They have beautiful flowers whenever they start developing on the plant. And here's another tip. If you have family members that do not like the sliminess of okra, dehydrate it. The sliminess goes away. I enjoy deep fried okra. It is nice. You don't like okra at all. We know that. That's why you're not talking about it. It's very good. It has its purpose, and like gumbo. Gumbo does not gumbo have okra?
I don't like gumbo either.
Right.
I don't like it in gumbo.
Okay.
I'll pick it out, just like cooked celery.
All right. Well, so I hope that helps, and you certainly can grow okra in the northern areas. It's not a southern crop. Well, with that being said, it's reached that portion of the program where we discussed what we learned today. And I learned that I was not aware that some nut trees can take up to 10 years before they start maturing and putting produce on. That is a very long, patient process before you're able to harvest something that you planted.
I just learned that there's a plethora of nut trees that you can grow in the northern parts of the United States. And I also learned that some of them are like shrubs versus trees, which I think is cool. Like if I was going to grow one, I probably would grow more of the shrub ones.
Well, what we learned today is brought to you by Honey Bee Healthy.
Honeybeehealthy.com is serious about the business of bees and helping beekeepers maintain healthy and thriving hives. Whether you're a professional beekeeper or a bee hobbyist, we've got the products to help you maintain a healthy hive. Honeybee Healthy products are made in the USA. Visit honeybeehealthy.com.
Tune into the program next week. We'll be discussing some more garden myths. That's always fun to see what you're doing that you don't need to be doing because science says you shouldn't, as well as food storage without canning. Our guest is YouTube personality Jessica McCullen, and will answer your garden questions. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.